So Bird Box got a sequel. Bird Box Barcelona.
Bird Box 2.
Bird Box 2. Bird
This time
Boxed.
there's more birds.
Bird Boxed.
Bird Boxed.
Bird Squared.
Burb Square.
Burb? The Burbs?
The Burbs?
With Tom Hanks? No?
Burbs, B-I-R-B.
So this time we are moving over to
Barcelona.
Barcelona, yeah. You got it from the title. Smart people. So this is another movie. Let's just say, if you saw the first film, we'll say the synopsis of the world, because I think that's what's important here, right? So in the first film, we follow a group of survivors as some epidemic hits the world, and people, when they see these beings, which we never see, they are compelled to end their own life. And so people have to blind themselves either with bandanas or whatever they got, or close
Sharp
their eyes
knives.
Really. Yeah, they can cut their eyes out if they want. To prevent themselves from killing themselves. Now, in closed areas where all the windows are closed and everything, they can open their eyes and look around and talk to each other. But outside, you got to cover up. And the same remains true here. There is a much different spin on this movie than there was this last movie, so that's good. This is not a lather repeat movie. This definitely tries something different and adds a new element to it. And that's the main focus of the film. And I do not want to say what that thing is, because that would be a spoiler.
Yes.
And that's why a synopsis for this film specifically would not apply. So just the very basic premise of this universe is all that I can say.
Yeah.
So a little context here. I have seen the first, which I did like. I thought the performances from Sandra Bullock and everybody, you can watch my review on it. I did Solo years ago. I did like it. I thought the performances were really great from everybody, and it was super well shot, and I was a fan. And so I have seen it. Kaylee did not, so she's coming into this one not having seen the first. But I told her it was fine, because I knew this would have really almost nothing to do with the first one, except of a premise, which is exactly what it was. Yeah. So it was totally fine to watch it in whichever order you wanted to. Mm-hmm. So I do want to give you context for that, so you know, if you're someone who's seen Bird Box, you can maybe go off my opinion, and if you're someone who hadn't, then you can go off her opinion. So we'll start with her, since I've been talking the whole time.
I really liked this film. I didn't know anything about the Bird Box like the first film, so the premise and everything was totally new to me, and I actually think it's a very scary premise.
But you, when we press play, you were like, so this is like Quiet Place with Sight? Did you know that before, or was that 5 minutes in?
That was just 5 minutes in.
Okay,
because
so you
of
knew
how they're
literally
acting.
nothing about the movie?
I didn't know anything about the movie. I didn't know anything about Bird Box. So, yeah, I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I think that, there's obviously a twist that happens, and I was really into that. I think it's done super effectively. It was very unexpected for me.
Yeah.
So I think that's great, because it really takes you off guard, and you're like, oh shit, that's happening. I liked everybody's performance quite a bit. Our lead character, I think he does a really great job. He kept reminding me of Josh Hart. What's his name? Hartnett? I don't know why, but there's some shots of him. I don't think he 100% looks like him, but there's a couple shots where I was like, anyway, it's kind of a pointless thing, but I just wanted to mention.
No, it's fine. I did not get that feeling. I could liken him to a different actor that I thought he kind of looked like, but not Josh Hartnett. That's funny.
I don't know what it was, but anyway. But yeah, I thought it was it's a scary idea. The premise, like I said, kind of freaked me out a little bit. I really am a fan of post-apocalyptic worlds, and I think this one is pretty unique, even though I did say it's like A Quiet Place but with Sight. But I do like, how this is handled, and I found it really just freaky. So yeah, I think if you like A Quiet Place, if you like that kind of setup where you have a limited sense and, danger because of if you use it. I think that you'll enjoy this as well. It is subtitled. It's in Spanish with some English spoken here and there, as well as some German, but it's primarily subtitled for people who don't speak Spanish, which we never have a problem with subtitles, but just as an FYI.
They do have a dub.
They do have a dub, but you should, in our opinion, always listen to the subtitled version if you can.
Yeah.
Voice acting is usually always better when you have original actors. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I'll say that.
I mean, I that's true most of the time, but I do prefer the English actors' voices in One Piece.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say that.
I do.
What did you think about this?
I really enjoyed it as well. I thought that the opening was super strong.
Yeah.
And the first 30 minutes I was like really into it.
Mm-hmm.
Then it slows itself down and like loses some momentum, but still remains a very cool premise and not something I expected from this film at all as far as a premise went. I don't remember the first movie perfectly to remember if any of that stuff happens in that movie.
I was wondering.
I would totally be down to rewatch the first one with you eventually, so you can see it and I can get a refresher on it to remind myself. But it definitely, from what I remember of Bird Box, it definitely feels pretty similar. As far as like once we get past that first 30 minutes, then it starts to feel like the latter half of the original Bird Box, which is a good thing. And I just liked the new element. If it's in the original, I don't remember it, but if it isn't, then yes, this is a very cool, unique spin on it. Because what I would have actually have liked if that stuff isn't in the first movie, which I don't think it is. Maybe it is. Shit. But regardless, man, now I just need to remember. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It just needs to be this film that we talk about. And in this film, I did enjoy my time. I thought the performances were good. I thought that the scope and the production value and everything on this, especially in the first like 30 minutes, was really like good.
Yeah.
And I was like,
definitely.
oh wow, this feels big, because it's like it's not a, with kind of like direct to streaming, even though the first one was direct to streaming, but like you would think maybe this one would be a smaller film.
Sure, yeah.
And it would be like, oh,
Because
just like a couple people in a
sequel, too.
warehouse,
Yeah.
and then maybe they look outside. Oh no. They're running across an entire city.
Yeah.
The whole city is beat down,
Yeah.
broken. This is like many months after. And it's a very post-apocalyptic feeling film
Yes.
on a wide scale. They look out at huge streets and everything. They're running down them, running through different buildings. So the production value here is solid. And I think the premise is cool. This is not getting very good reviews, which I think is super unfair. I'm not really honestly sure what people aren't liking about this. From what I read in the reviews, they were like, this felt more like the pilot for a TV series, which I'm like, that would be cool.
That would be cool.
I'd
actually
watch
be
that.
into a TV series, but I didn't feel like this had that kind of vibe to me.
No, it's not like a TV show, even though these days you can barely tell the difference. I mean,
It's true. I don't know that that's even a knock, really. I do like the idea because, you told me the first one's set in America. This one's obviously Barcelona. It would actually be really cool, though, to see, have different films in different countries, like have one in Japan or have one wherever, and see, different stories of people who are, surviving and what they go through with this scenario.
This one undoubtedly leaves off for a sequel.
Yeah, it definitely
right? And
does.
I think that's where somebody might say, like, oh, a TV series, but like, how many movies end on a cliffhanger for a sequel?
Yeah.
Like, what? That's not a exclusive thing to television.
No.
So I'm not really sure where they're getting
Yeah.
the, like, this is, and I saw other things like it's half-baked or whatever. The film feels fully realized in its concept, and I feel like we get everything from that story that we can.
I do too.
There's just a thread being left open for there to be more to explore with other characters.
Yeah.
That's That's not saying anything about the fate of characters. I promise you that's not a spoiler on whether all the characters die or all the characters
No.
live. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the characters that we follow, their story could continue, whoever might survive.
Right.
But it doesn't have to.
Yeah.
It's just what they set up for the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Absolutely can be expanded upon and probably should, and I would 100% watch the next movie.
Yeah.
Expanding upon what they set up at the end of this movie. So
Yeah,
very cool. I think that there's this movie has a good amount of drama, dramatic scenes in it where you're really feeling that.
Yeah.
Like, because there's
definitely.
decisions being made and you feel that weight of things. And it's definitely not a typical protagonist.
Yeah.
I'll say that for
Yeah,
sure.
I found
And I
it.
really liked that about the
I
movie.
did too. It's really compelling. Very,
Yeah.
very interesting, and yeah.
From the
Unexpected.
reviews that are on this film right now, this was a big surprise. Much better than people are saying it is.
Yeah.
A very enjoyable film and a good follow-up sequel to Bird Box of what I remember. So, yeah, I would check it out for sure if you're into Quiet Place or the
The first
original
Bird
Bird
Box,
Box
yeah.
or Quiet Place 2.
Right.
Or
Any
whatever.
of those. type
Yeah,
of films.
the post-apocalyptic film
Yeah.
where creatures are trying to... Or The Happening.
Oh yeah. You said the happening.
So that's that. Let us know if you watch it. I recommend it for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what people are talking about. Maybe they can't read,
Oh yeah, maybe.
or maybe they watched it dubbed and they were like, "This is awful," because dubbed
Possible.
makes movies look awful.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, it makes even the best acting look bad.
Absolutely.
I think that's why
It's
with
really
One
rough.
Piece, because it's a cartoon.
Sure, it's
The acting
easier with
doesn't
cartoons,
change.
of course, yeah, to do a dub versus a sub. But with live action, I mean, to the best of your ability listening to it in the original language, you get so much more out of the actor's performance. Even if you have really talented voice actors trying to dub over it, it's just not the same. So,
But on the flip side of that, I much prefer the Japanese language of Demon Slayer.
sure. I mean, yeah,
Over
I'm
the-
always...
The dubs.
Yeah, I'm usually always with the Japanese for anime because I find that it's like, so it just gets me in such a great mood. I love the Japanese
Sure.
language already, and I think that, like, with anime it's so dramatic,
Yes.
so I just love hearing Japanese people yell and be like over
Yeah,
the top.
it's great.
But a lot of animes with like English dubs, like there's still a good passion and like drama to them, so
Yeah.
I'm okay with either. Like I watched, anyway.
Just depends.
Yeah, it does just depend. So
Anyways, let us know if you watch it, and we'll see you in the comments.